Hello there and welcome. Today I will show you my way of glazing with oxides and a kind of salt glaze. Now, I take no responsibility for your doings. You might ruin your kiln if you do this. So this is not advice, it's just to show what I do. The video is just for entertainment use, and I want you to look at the disclaimer beginning of this video. Anyway, bisque fired stoneware, and I will turn it into ready burnt oxides and salt glazing. This is copper oxide and I have iron oxide. The iron oxide is basically rust and it gives the red color, and the copper oxide makes these darker colors, and I really like them because they are very natural in my mind for stoneware. So the salt glazing that I use is basically pure water, washing soda, it's the same as sodium carbonate. So let's go into the video, and remember, please, if you like my videos, remember to subscribe and click the thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't like it. And if you have any questions or you want to comment on something, please do. Now let's go into the video. Okay, so let's start with my bisque-fired gnomes or elves. If you want to take a look at how I do them, it's in another video. First of all, we need washing soda or sodium carbonate, and it's always in this crystal form. I take about 1 teaspoon of sodium carbonate, and then I fill the mug up with water. I try to dilute it, and actually this time I had to put a little bit more water into it. The mixture that I use feels a little bit slippery between your fingers. If I mix it too strong, the glazing is going to be very shiny, and I don't want that. So just a little bit slippery, not too slippery. And this feels really perfect. The purpose with this soda and water mix is to bind the oxides to the clay, and I don't want to make it too strong because the evaporation might ruin the kiln. Now I need the oxides, and of course you need some safety first. So a breathing mask is very good to have, and protective gloves if you have any cuts on your fingers. I use a plastic tray to mix all my colors on, and I start by taking out the iron oxide, and as I said, it's rust. I carefully scoop out a little bit of iron oxide with my teaspoon, and I put a little bit here and there in the holes of the tray to get different strong mixes. Now I take the copper oxide and do the same thing. I actually mix copper oxide and iron oxide sometimes to get a brownish color. And now it's time for the soda and water mixture. I carefully pour it over to get this watery color and try to make them stronger and weaker in color. This way I can choose how dark or how light I want the colors to be. The iron oxide is easier to mix. It dilutes in water really easy. The copper oxide sinks to the bottom and you have to actually work a little bit more to get that perfect. Now I start with the iron oxide to paint the hat. It's a little bit runny, it's more or less like painting with watercolors. And just like watercolors, if you want a lighter color, you need more water and soda than oxides in your mix. So, for instance, for the face and the hands, I use a lot of water and soda and not so much oxides. Now we jumped a little bit, but I paint the hands because this gnome is going to get some gloves. The shirt or the jacket is with copper oxides. And now this one is done, and I make a whole lot more before I load the kiln. When I load the kiln, I put them close to each other and I burn it in a normal stoneware temperature. This kiln I loaded and I burnt it in 1290 degrees, just as it said on the package. And the final result then? Well, the gnomes look like this. You can see it's a mixture of reddish and brown or almost black colors. The red from the iron oxide and the black comes from the copper oxide. Remember, this is not a tutorial. I don't want anybody to use your electric kiln for this because I can't guarantee that your kiln will survive it. This is what I do. Don't do it. Now, time again for the disclaimer. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.